Bonjour, bonjour. How you doing, everybody? This is DJ Verm here. We are live on Just Pure Talk. How is everybody going here in the house?
Woohoo!
Are you okay, Kai?
Kai is shifting around. I don't know. He's got a weird smile.
Oh, is
Glasses.
he wearing glasses?
Yeah, he's trying to look like me. It looks like the same kind of glasses.
Well, it's probably from the same VA clinic, so
Yeah, probably. These are pure government issue here.
yeah.
They're not like you remember back in the 90s, the big thick birth control
BC glasses.
Yeah.
You know why I called them BC glasses? Birth control. They made you so fugly that no woman wanted to touch you.
Yeah.
Thick brown plastic glasses. I have a
All
pair
right.
somewhere. You know what?
God.
I will dig those out for next week's show, just to show you how fugly they are.
Yeah, I ditched
I still
mine
have a
long
pair.
time.
They're downstairs. They're downstairs in my little, this is all the crap I collected in my short term of being in the military.
Yeah, but I didn't start
Right.
wearing glasses till after I made after I got out.
Samurai saying, "How's everybody
As I
going?"
got old.
How do?
Hello, bonjour. Hello.
Bonjour.
Samurai,
All right, samurai. So you don't need to talk.
Oh yeah, samurai. Oh, I thought you were saying to the French people out there. Hey samurai, how you doing? This Steel Rangers / Speed Bump Ranger 504, whatever you want to call it. I go by many names.
I do like Speed Bump though. It's an enduring term
it's
of love.
it's kind of growing on.
It's kind of growing on you. I think you should.
Like,
It's not like you get to pick your
what?
name.
As they
Did you
say-
ever get to pick your slang name?
No, because in basic training it was knucklehead. So, but I think everyone was knucklehead.
I think everybody was Knucklehead or
Soup
S for
sandwich,
Brains
yeah.
or Soup Sandwich or
It's stagnant as palm water, that kind of stuff.
and then and then you got to your unit and then you kind of got a nickname there
Yeah,
if they liked you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember my squad leader. It was D head. I guess we can't use the real term on.
You mean dickhead?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know if we could use that. Is that considered naughty language? Or
I don't think that's one of the 7 words.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I was dickhead until I made E4, and then I was part of the E4 Mafia until I made
Proud
E5,
member.
and I went to the dark side.
Not everybody can be perfect.
Actually, I got kicked out. It was kind of funny because E4 Mafia was in our unit was like just all the sham shields. It was all the specialists. And then when they made me corporal,
You're out.
Yeah, I was junior NCO. Bye. Yeah, I felt like the oddball out. It was
don't even come around.
And I know them fuckers did that. Oh, excuse my language. Them guys did that on purpose. See, now we're gonna get kicked because that was one of the 7 deadly words. I said muckers, by the way. That was not the F word. It was muckers.
So, have you guys been watching the news in France? I know France is kind of far away from here, but they're passing laws to make it illegal to say that whatever government mandated course of medical stuff is warranted is wrong, that you can actually go to prison now.
Really?
So if you were to say that, well, that Pfizer vaccine is bad, which we all know it is, and you're not going to change my mind in any way, shape, or form, that all the guys that are like coming up with vaccine injuries and stuff like that, if you even mention that you can get a vaccine injury or something like that from taking that drug that the French government says is good, you can go to jail.
Dang.
Is that crazy or what? In the land of liberty, okay.
Yeah,
where's French liberty gone to?
Down the toilet with everyone else's liberties.
That's what I'm thinking.
And now they're starting to do it over in England. Well, the Prime Minister was on a TV show over there in England, and there were some people in the audience that had vaccine injuries, and they stood up and started railing him about how all this stuff you're saying on the floor is untrue. I'm one of the 30,000 that's in this group that's got a vaccine injury that the government won't acknowledge, and craziness, just all kinds of craziness going on over there.
All kinds of craziness, man.
Yeah. I think it stems from communist China, and it's their way of influencing the world by pushing that authoritarian style government onto and making puppet governments out of everyone else subliminally. I mean, if you look at it,
supposedly there's more weather balloons popping up.
God, here we go. Are we gonna send F-22s up to shoot them down? Call them Balloon Popper 5. Please investigate that to reach it.
That's what they're saying. A lot of people are saying that's what that last cell phone outage was here in the States.
Probably. Yeah. Who knows? They're probably
just reminding everyone. I know AKAI, usually you do this, but remind everyone that, hey, come and hit the bell.
Like and subscribe.
Leave a comment.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Tell your friends how wrong we are, and email us and reply in the comments. What have you been doing this week?
So, what I've done, I've spent. Have you guys seen my new?
You're spent, like physically or emotionally or cash wise?
Money.
Cash wise. Me and my son Cedric has bought a new controller and a new casing that comes from the United States, by the way. It is an American branded casing.
Yeah.
American brand.
What about buy Canadian?
Yeah, but those are all aftermarket.
I can't buy Canadian if they don't make it.
What was NAFTA about? We were signing a free trade agreement that Clinton
which has not been good for either country. I just hate to say it.
There you guys. There it is.
That's beautiful.
Wow, nice.
Is that the case, or is that the box it came in?
No, the box is it just came in tonight.
Oh,
that's a casing, and this is the new
that's why you were late.
Nice.
The new controller.
Is that why you were late?
He was playing with his new toy.
You were playing with the new toy, and that's why you couldn't get here on time.
I took a closer print. United States.
That's a pretty heavy duty box. Is that like a?
It is. It is.
Is that a box?
Controllers here. You see everything.
Is that a box where you can? Like you could transport it in that box for life?
There. If you see it close, you have the cover over here.
Yeah, it looked like heavy duty material.
This is really heavy duty. You lock it up, you bring it around. It has wheels, and I can tell you it's heavy. But it's a professional. I just come in, put it on the table, have my laptop, put it on. Bam, there we go. Plug it in. The show's done. So
nice.
I'm really proud of it. I'm not going to tell you how much it cost.
You might as well. Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, the controller got it for $2,500 and the casing $700.
That's not bad.
No, and it was on special.
It's not bad when you think about what it does and how long you're going to use it for.
Well,
when you ties that out over the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, but these are professional stuff. This is really now. When I went to buy, we went to where I buy all my equipment. And I told the guy, I want a professional mixer. This mixer, or controller, I'm sorry, I keep saying mixer because I'm an old DJ. This controller mashes up live. That's the new version that you can mash up. You can take out the drums, you can take out the vocals. You got a button where you take out the vocals, you take out the drums, you take out the song. So you could completely mash up your music while you're playing live. Instead of doing all the backup with the programming. Play a song.
We were talking about that last week.
Now you've seen it live. Now you see it live. Yeah, really happy. And like we all know, so I'm going to have fun with it. So we're going to be able to put some more music into our SoundCloud and Mixcloud, and also our podcast that I'm lining up. And we're going to have to do the new jingle. So if you want me to put all the podcasts in our channels, the new jingle. So we're gonna have to work on.
So are you gonna make a new jingle?
We have to. It's just pure talk.
Ooh, chocolate.
Yeah, we're gonna use that. I'm gonna build it up. You know how I am with these jingles.
Come on down here. It's time to tackle the love machine.
Moto.
So what was people been opening there? The French government doesn't want to pay them their fair jury, and then the opened up the door to where the countries went south with them.
Okay,
Sorry, I'm just reading. So
you got something new this week. I got something new. It finally got done, and it's here.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a difference.
Nice. Very nice.
Wow, beautiful. Love that. Oh, that's thick. Hell yeah.
So it's got a false edge up here, but it comes to a, can't see it really well, but it comes to
it comes to a point.
To a chisel. It's like a chisel point. So that way it's got more meat on it, doesn't break. If you guys would like one, black gem blades, send me a thing and I'll let you know where to get one. But yeah, he does really good work, and it's a one-man shop, and they're all made in America. This one's made out of ball bearing steel. So
nice.
That's good. Really love it. So yeah, and what about you, Danger Ranger? What's the other one? Speed bump, whatever.
I know what he's going to be looking to buy, but we can't discuss that on air.
Yeah. So, anyways, Hangman's News. Anyway, so
good lawyer.
Yeah, no. So the this week, working. My boss had his second surgery. Finally, his swelling went down out of his leg enough that they could do the second surgery on his road. We've nicknamed him the Road Warrior because he truly is a warrior trying to steam through this, but got hurt on the road. So his wife is doing better. She had her final surgery on her knee, and she starts physical therapy, I think, next month. And then right now they got her on this machine. He sent me a video of it, and basically she has to lay down on the couch, and this machine keeps her leg moving like side to side, up and down. It keeps her knee moving, keep it's to keep the
so it doesn't seize up.
Yeah. It keeps scar tissue from building up, and then she has to be on it for a certain amount of time.
It's painful.
And be off, and she said it is. She's like, luckily she has some good painkillers.
It is excruciating.
Yeah, she said it's not fun. It is worse than the surgery, and she has to do this for at least 4 or 5 weeks or something like that, or until the doctor says it. But anyways, enough about her. Back on to me, and just playing the boss at work.
Because it's all about you.
That's right. It's all about me. So
there's a song there.
It's all about me. Now I've got to pee.
No, I think it's already invented out there. Okay.
Okay. So anyway,
dear Lord, you can't sing. So okay.
No.
Next.
I am tone deaf. So no, I got a new boot knife. Speaking of knives, I should have brought it out. But it's I think it's standard. Boot knife, military style.
3-inch blade, so you don't get busted on post with it.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's actually a little longer. I think it's a 4-inch blade, but it's double-edged. It's got the double edge on it. It's got
you a little dagger action.
Yeah, a little boot dagger. Yeah. So other than that, and my VA benefits got increased the other day. And I am now up to 70, I think 78% or something like that. So I'm on my way to
70%.
Yeah, something like that. So it's almost 80, they say, but I think it's
Yeah,
whatever.
but you're not going to get paid 80. You're getting paid 70.
70. Yeah, they tell you one thing and pay you another. So
by the way, you got a 50% increase. You got a 50% on this thing, and you're already collecting 70, which means now you have 85%. You get
it's really freaking stupid. Yeah, so it's kind of like, really. So VA sucks in that way, but At least they got
At least it's going
increased.
up.
Yeah, it's going up and it's not going down.
Was
And
that for
then
your erectile dysfunction?
no, that I don't have a problem with that. That's your problem. So stop projecting on
Kind of
me your
direct, eh?
shortcomings. And I do mean your shortcomings. So no. That's from the carpal tunnel and elbow.
Oh,
What
from
do they call
over
it?
masturbating. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because
God, guy's on
anyways,
fire tonight.
uh,
Woo!
Yeah, that's why he's Italian. They have hairy palms.
no, I'm just going blind. So itchy palms and going blind all at the same time. So, anyways,
Don't worry, we can make fun of each other. We're both in the military, or used to be. We all used to be in the military, technically. We can all make fun of each other.
Exactly. It's all good.
You, as a civilian, can't.
Because you haven't earned the right.
That would be very bad for you.
That's why there's nothing my wife.
Have you ever noticed that?
Have
you ever noticed that, like when you're hanging out with a bunch of like Army guys or Air Force guys or whatever, and they're all ragging on each other, right?
Air Force.
Yeah.
And then that one, or like somebody in another branch will try to rag on the Army guy, and like all the Army guys will turn on that one branch guy.
Yeah.
But if one civilian pipes up and tries to make fun of somebody in the military, then like they all just like, they're like pit bulls, man. They're on him. Like white on rice and a paper plate in a blizzard. There's no mercy.
You're screwed, dude. Oh yeah.
That's one of those things where I just learned to shut up over time. And I'm like, I could say something right now, but I am the only Army dude here. And I will be lambasted.
Yeah.
And
talking about Army, dude. Got a question for you guys. I've seen on the news that, and I'm trying to understand this. I've seen on the news that the French minister or prime minister or whatever they call him over there, president, whatever, are maybe thinking of sending troops to Ukraine.
Sending the
troops
French
to
Army?
Ukraine?
Yeah.
To like train people,
are they
or
going to start thinking about World War III?
World War III has already started.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
To be a world war, everybody has to be. It's true that you're right. When they're funding it.
No. Look at it. Look at it this way. If you look back in history, look back at World War II. Okay, it was slowly that each country pulled in more and more and more and more until it was all of Europe going against Germany. And then it wasn't until the Japanese, and we were giving supplies to everybody, but it wasn't until the Japanese bombed us, which
we actually,
I think we let them bomb us, but
yeah.
So I have my theories on that, but that we got in and got involved. Now, if France or Poland or anybody in NATO sends in troops, sorry, that's going to commit the rest of NATO.
Okay. Now, for any of you people out there, you civilians out there that have never been in the military, Mom and Paul Kettle out in Oklahoma that might be listening, or out in the Northwest Territory.
That's very disrespectful.
Well, I'm just talking about. Oh, sorry. Anyways, what we're talking about is this: if you want to know why Pearl Harbor was allowed to be bombed, watch this famous documentary. Okay, it's made back in the 80s. It's a famous documentary starring Kirk Douglas. It's called The Final Countdown. So,
okay.
I don't even know if I've seen that. What is that? Is it a movie or is it really a documentary?
We'll look it up.
Because I'm not very movie savvy, so I read more books and manuals on how to do stuff than I would ever watch TV or. Is it a movie? I'm honest.
I'm joking. It's a movie. It's a movie called The Final Countdown, and it's about the call off of a what do you call it? Aircraft at the USS Enterprise was called off from intercepting at the last minute. I mean, they were basically right behind the Japanese fleet, and they were literally minutes away from having our fighters from the Enterprise take out the entire Japanese attack force. And they were called off at the last minute and sent back to the carrier. And that, you know, and it's just something that, you know, will kind of madden you about why, but I think it goes along the reason of what you said. That we were brought in the war on purpose. It was done because the Japanese envoy at the time Pearl Harbor happened were in Washington waiting to meet with the president and the war secretary or secretary. Well, they called him something. Was it the secretary of the war secretary? It was something different. They wouldn't call him the Secretary of Defense back then. He had a different title. But they were getting ready to meet with him and Roosevelt, and then they got the word that the attack on Pearl Harbor happened, and so the question still lies. It lies within why was the Enterprise ordered to stand down when they had an airborne attack fleet? You know, why do you think all of our aircraft carriers are out of Pearl Harbor at the time? Exactly. They you know, some of them were on mission and you know, patrols, escort patrols and stuff like that. But then there were some that were like the Enterprise that they were.
Well, and a lot of our fleet that was there in Pearl was an older fleet.
But the Enterprise at the time was a newer carrier. That's the thing.
Well, but I'm talking like battleships and cruisers that we had there. They got sunk there. A lot of those were the older fleet.
You think that they allowed the Japs to bomb the fleet to push the war machine into action? And
the war machine cranked out more ships. The war machine that's cranked out ships in World War II to supply the U.S. Navy is now what's happening in China. China is now outproducing, can and will outproduce the United States in naval vessels.
Oh, yeah?
They will have more sheer number of Navy vessels. They will be the largest Navy in the world here soon. They are cranking out so many vessels. And you don't do that unless you're coming up for something.
Especially money.
Well, while everybody else is downsizing their militaries, China is increasing their military exponentially.
Okay.
So it makes me wonder, like, are they getting ready to go into Taiwan? Or are they getting ready to go into something else? Or are they getting ready to go claim territory from all these countries that they loaned all this money to that now can't pay them back?
And why do you think
that could be a good option?
There's been over 7,000 in the last year. There's been over 7,000 Chinese crossings on the southern border of the United States, and they said every one of these guys was of recruiting age. They were not with families. They were young men by themselves crossing the border. Over 7,000, and disappeared into the heartland. You know, they basically were you know.
Do you know the Chinese men are given a different questionnaire than all other illegal immigrants into this country? They're allowed to ask them. They only ask them 5 questions and then they get released. I don't know why, but if you're Latino or anything else, you're getting grilled for days trying to figure out who you are, where you're from, what you're doing, and then they get released with a phone and a credit card that the American tax dollars pay for. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah. But it's going on around the world. So what do we do?
Ugh.
We've already talked about the stuff that's going on up there that people thought I was a crackpot for saying, and then later on you came back and told me, like, dude, I thought you were joking. That stuff was real.
Okay.
When I was talking about some of the Chinese stuff that was going on in Canada, you know, some of the contracts they had, how they're pushing Chinese military in to guard Chinese assets, and it's like, whew.
Hey, this is better with the music playing and
Yeah.
him talking. Yeah, it kind of puts a little beat to it.
Now I know. I come realize that I said, hey, I didn't start the music.
Yeah.
So,
Samurai saying something happening up in Canada.
It's always
Oh,
happening. Canada's a happening place, man. It's movers
Canada's a
and shakers.
happening place.
It's full of business and AI and
Yeah.
and
well,
Canada-
did you-
that little tech guy up there. That's what's his name, Linus Tech Tips. He's from Canada, and
So I saw,
I had the pleasure. Oh yeah, if you haven't used his screwdriver, by the way, the Linus Tech Tip screwdriver, this thing is the bomb.
What is that?
So it's a screwdriver, but it's got this ultra super fine ratcheting system in it. It's just, and you can lock it or make it solid, and then he's got all the screwdriver tips
Hey, I got something like that.
for doing the thing, and this thing fits in your hand. It feels good. You can manipulate it's got that knurl on there, so you can manually put screws in. This thing's quality, worth the money.
Oh, worth the money.
Yeah,
Sorry, just done a commercial.
they're also
Hopefully you didn't
using the Mexico's southern border to come across too.
So I
You just
know, Samurai. We never heard the Chinese are crossing the border to go to the U.S.
They are?
But they are. But I mean,
the southern
legally,
border, more than the
legally,
northern.
I mean, they're not doing like some other countries like cross
The
that
Canadian
part of
border
the
is way easier to cross than the Mexican border.
If they're crossing, it might be coming, through the
Do you know what's
northwest
on the
the
Canadian-U.S. border to block people from crossing it?
roadblock, a speed bump,
Nothing.
people.
nothing.
There's literally a path mowed through the trees across the Canadian-U.S. border. There's no fence. There's nothing.
Yeah, no, there's that road there. The one that they were having all these people that were flying to the United States and they were taking a taxi to go to cross Canada.
And what happened to the Mounties? What happened to the Canadian Mounties that used to patrol?
They were
the
there.
border?
Oh, they're
They're
there.
there.
Uh,
They were there. They
There's only-
welcomed them.
But
They
there's
welcomed them.
there's
They wait
only
till
like
they cross the
there's
border and
only
they
like
come here.
how many Mounties per square mile? I mean, come on. There's
now,
guy's
now,
busy.
So you're saying that I could easily at any time cross over into Canada.
dude. I used to canoe into Canada. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You go across
Yeah.
Lake Erie into Canada.
I used
I
to go
mean-
up the lakes in Minnesota. You just canoe. There's a white buoy line there. That's it.
I'm not going to say that you're not going to get caught because you get caught.
You do sometimes, but as long as you're heading towards the portage on the Canada side to check in, they'll just kind of watch you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
It is that weird, but I don't think, and I don't think a fence would make a difference because you all know that
It's not making a difference
Mexico
down there.
side, they make holes to go through the United States anyways. They have
What it
holes.
needs to be is an active minefield.
Boom.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah?
Mean, AKAI, there's so much stuff going. You put a fan, still figure out a way. It's like a hacker. It's like a hacker.
Hey, you know what?
I'm
You
sorry.
know who
That's
doesn't,
so
you know who doesn't have this
offensive.
problem? Guantanamo. And do you know what they have? Do you know what Guantanamo's got around it?
Well,
No.
Fences, electric fences, and an active minefield.
Okay.
and snipers.
Yeah. It's not an issue.
Are you okay? Stop smoking, man.
I did. I quit smoking a long time ago. I just have the residual effects of smoking, emphysema and shit, stuff like that.
Oh, I haven't seen the one in Egypt on the north border.
Or then we'll do like China. Do a wall, the wall.
Well,
That's why
what
they
Trump
put it
said.
there.
Trump wanted to build a great wall and to make Mexico pay for it. And it's funny. So speaking of that, I read an article, an interview with Trump, and not too long ago, and they asked him about that wall. And they said, okay, so what can you explain exactly why you said that you'd make Mexico pay for it? And he said, well, he goes, I'm not talking necessarily pay for it monetary. Obviously, the U.S. government would fund it. He goes, what my words were taken out of context. What I meant is that we paid the price for illegal border crossings for so many years. Well, guess what? Now we're going to take this wall, we're going to secure the border, and then Mexico is going to pay the price, for all those years of letting these jerks across the border. Now he said, now they get to deal with these people. They get to the border, they're going to get stopped and returned. And that's what he meant by paying the price. Not that he would necessarily make them pay monetarily for it. That they're going to pay
Yes and no.
I don't. People. But
I've worked on the border and down there, and I've seen it to where when we make it too tough, the cartel just gets a hold of the Mexican military, and they have the Mexican military push and hold territory across the border, and they can still do their little drug deal, and the United States government does nothing.
Oh, man, Darth Vader.
There's Darth Vader, yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
You bring Solo and the Wookiee to me. You're okay for the salvation. So anyways, well, or your old buddy Bill Clinton, like melons, and then if you want people to illegally immigrate, then stop making it so easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens if I come to Canada illegally?
Okay. Illegal?
No, seriously, illegally. Like if I just go to Canada and say, I'm coming to Canada, I'm going to get a job here, I'm going to work here. People are going to turn me in, and then we get kicked across the border in a heartbeat, right?
Yeah. Mexico, if you cross the border illegally, the Mexican police catch you.
Yeah, if I do it illegally cross into Mexico, I go to prison.
Yeah, you go to prison. Well, but that's okay, okay, yeah.
But if you come here and I throw you in prison, or if I put you in a detainment camp, I'm wrong. The world thinks I'm wrong.
You're going to be canceled, buddy. You're going to be fried on the 6 o'clock news, and then again on the 11 o'clock news. And if I want to immigrate, into Mexico and go to the city of Guadalupe or whatever it's called, I have to get a signature from the police chief to say it's okay that I come there.
Okay.
We don't even have to do anything that remotely strict in our countries to immigrate.
Okay.
So all I'm asking is, if you're going to immigrate, please do it legally. I don't care if you come. Just do it legally.
Well, for sure.
Like the millions and millions, as Trump would say, come in like millions and millions. I just like how he says millions. I don't know what it is. Of people
talking about his money
that come into Ellis Island and other ports of entry for centuries.
Because our families came to this country, they immigrated legally.
If the Supreme Court, if the Supreme Court would step in, and they've done this before, where they've injected themselves, they don't have to wait for it to come in front of them. If they feel that is, they can inject themselves into a matter like this, like with the border, and say, hey, what you're doing is totally unconstitutional. You cannot let these people just invade our country. That is against our Constitution. against our Bill of Rights and our freedom, and they could inject themselves. Now, if they did that, if they unanimously, all 9 judges, said across the board, all right, could you imagine the press conference the next day? Especially with Trump. Trump would be like, beautiful job, Ketanji Brown Jackson, wonderful work, Sayada Marcus, the 2 real liberal ladies that are on the Supreme Court. But no, I think of this, if they all injected that, the controversy on the left that would erupt would just be, they just be slapped the president and the Homeland Security Secretary, back and forth a couple times. It would, oh, that's offensive. Oh, we need to pack the court and get this overturned, just like they did with Roe versus Wade when that went back to the states. And they were like, now they say we can't have abortions. No, they said that the states get to decide, and there's plenty of states like New York and Illinois and most of the states will allow abortion to a certain point, and sometimes not before a certain point, unless you live in Alabama where they want to abolish it totally. So they could, I could see them doing the same thing. Let's say that Supreme Court says, no, we're going to allow that this, you got to seal the border. You got to, and allow Texas and New Mexico and all these border states to shut down the damn border and deploy National Guard, whatever they got to do. And the news would thrive. I mean, regardless of whether they're Democrat or appointed or Republican appointed, they'd be like, oh my God, they're racist. That would be the first thing. They're all racist because they're against illegals. They did that with Trump when Trump wanted to not allow certain countries to come to America. What was it during COVID? Was it during COVID? What was that thing where it was certain Arab countries he would not allow refugees to come here from, stating that they were terrorist nations, and he would, okay, we got to vet, we got to decide who we're going to let in this country or not. And they called him a racist because he wouldn't let Iranians in the country. He wouldn't let, people from Yemen in the country, and the Taliban. And
well, if you come from a country that's a known terrorist hotbed, then yes, you should be, examined with a higher, a brighter light. That's for sure. I mean, I think any country would be in their right mind to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Samurai, they still, I understand that they've given the driver's list, but from what I understand, and I looked it up and researched it, it's still against the law for, now, do they listen to that law? Probably not. It's probably not enforced in blue states where they're Democrat-run states like New York. But they still don't allow, if you're not a U.S. citizen, you still cannot vote until you become a citizen. But you can get your green card, you can get your driver's license, you can get all sorts of benefits and reparations and stuff like that. And which brings up a different subject on the reparations point. Did you see where the New York mayor Adams and the Chicago mayor, I can't remember his name, Johnson or something like that, both of them are giving like visas with like what is it, like $26,000 visas to these immigrants, and I'm talking Visa cards, like that you charge cards.
You're giving a $26,000 charge card
to illegal immigrants, including insurance and all this other stuff, free from the state, and then the African Americans who have been crying for reparations are getting squat. They're not getting anything. They're like, wait a second, now it's pissing all those people off because they're like, oh really? Okay, well I guess we'll just start voting for the other side. I saw a couple
of town halls that they were having where they were saying, hey, get these illegals out of our town. They're messing everything up. They're taking services away from our people.
Well, they just had that nursing student that got killed by a Venezuelan, illegal Venezuelan immigrant who came in here.
He'll probably get away scot-free and get returned to his country, not even go to jail.
He was caught, and he's being held without bail. They're going to prosecute him for murder, but he'll serve.
But what can we do to him?
Life in jail.
You can't.
That's what they say.
No, he won't. You know darn well he's going to get deported back to Venezuela and be free in a week.
Well, here's the thing. He was one of the prisoners that the Venezuelan government let go to send over to America. See, that's what the Venezuelan government's been doing for months, is emptying their prisons.
I hope that family sues the Venezuelan government.
Their money's worth nothing down there. So.
Yeah, but they should sue them for every penny they got.
Yeah. Well, when the money's blowing around in the streets because they overprint it and it doesn't sound.
You know what? They got an embassy in the United States. That land can be seized. That's
true. But yeah, I mean, and so it's really upsetting a large number of the middle class and lower class African Americans in these states that have been crying for decades. Hey, we need reparations, for slavery, and not getting, and then all of a sudden $26,000 for each adult migrant coming over gets a charge card for $26,000. They're like, wait a second, these people aren't even citizens. They just came to this country, and you're going to give them all this money, and we don't get our share. Where's our share? So and
that's what's broken with the system.
Yeah.
It used to be when you came to this country, if you couldn't stand on your own 2 feet, get a job, make money, feed your family, that you would get deported.
Well, isn't it in Canada? Don't you have to have a certain in order to immigrate to Canada to become a Canadian citizen? I heard you had to have like a certain amount of money in the bank. You had and you had to have a job, or at least you had to get a job in a certain amount of time. But I know there was a money thing there that my cousin who lives in Toronto was telling me about. Like, hey, if you want to come to Canada, you got to have this certain amount. I cannot remember. It's been years since he told me that. I can't remember, but that did stick in my head.
Google it.
Yeah, I should.
You should Google it.
But I mean, technically,
I know the UK has something like that. It's like $50,000 disposable income a year
look
to
at
immigrate.
Look at how many people were welcomed in Canada. They don't have nothing. So maybe there's a standard procedure, but
maybe it's a standard for Americans.
Yeah, but technically, I don't.
Because
I mean,
I saw that when I was in South Africa. I saw signs that were put up by the U.S. State Department that said, would you like to immigrate to the United States? And if you invest X number of dollars, we can fast track your application.
Okay. Yeah. So did you find it?
I'm looking at, okay. So it says under the old Canadian ordinance passed by Canada's Parliament, that you had to have 22 in order to move to Canada. As a resident, you have to have at least $22,000 in the bank and proof of it. That has been since removed, and each province within Canada now dictates their own policy, including Quebec, on the determination of how much money.
So how much to go to Quebec?
So okay, let me click on that. Quebec. Okay.
Surely in the rules they have to have
Quebec,
money.
In Quebec, you only need to have Quebec only currently.
What do they require dollar wise? Come on, spit it out.
$5,000 in your bank account.
How much? 9,000?
5,000 in your bank account.
I can immigrate to Quebec.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you need to get a job within 30 days.
You can't do that without a work visa.
Yeah, well, here it is. It says work visas for Canadian work visas and can be gotten through. Oh, okay. So you can go through their online process and get it before you even move to Canada. You can get approved for a work visa before you move to Canada, and then within 30 days you get a job. So
I don't want to change the subject, but Samurai wrote something, and you know, I'm not in a disagreement with you, but the thing is, if we look at the statistics that are going on, people are doing less and less children. Okay, I mean, either in the States or in Canada,
worldwide, people
are so stuck up in their work that they're not doing children anymore. So
well, it's not just that they even said that statistically speaking, males today are 50% less in testosterone than their fathers were 50 years ago.
No, I know, I know, but I mean, we're looking at the reason why there's so many immigrants, or the reason why there's a lot of people missing. We're missing a lot of people. Just look at the jobs.
We're not missing people. We're not missing people. What?
Yeah, there's a lazy mentality where people
that don't want to work. That work ethic is not what it used to be, because if they bust their butts and work for 20 years, they still won't have enough money for a down payment on a house. So what's the point? They can't live that dream that our parents had and our parents before them had, where if you worked hard, you could get a piece of land and you could build a home. Now there's so much government mandated BS into building a house that there's no way you could possibly afford it nowadays. Like the base, like what's the base price of a house in your area? You know, here, for instance, it's $450,000.
No, we're at that now. Just my house.
So how are two kids out of college or out of school or out of uni starting a family gonna afford to be able to put down a down payment on a home when they're paying, $2,000 a month in rent?
That's why.
Totally. I'm totally with you on this. I'm totally with you on this. Because I mean, it's one of the reasons why I told my children that, you don't need to rush. Put your money in and don't rush. You can stay at dad's and mom's.
I agree with you, Ragnar, but there's a point when it comes to the finance part. You just can't afford it. They're going to have to move to an area that's cheaper to live, which is going to drain people out of that area. So people either have to pay more here for people to stay here and work, or they're going to leave and go to places like where Ragnar lives, where the price of living and buying a home is cheaper.
Where is a home cheaper today?
Well, like Omaha and Bellevue, Nebraska nowadays is $200,000 is for $200,000 for a home. They get up into the forest, but you can get one for $2,000.
When I lived in Ohio,
which is doable, on a where you and your wife are both working, and wherever you're working, where if you're making at least $15 an hour, at least you might be able to afford a mortgage. It'll be tight, but you'll be able to afford it. But
no, it's true. But I mean, it still comes out to the end and that's what we're realizing here in Quebec. What about 45% are immigrants now in Quebec and Montreal?
But I also used to work 3 and 4 jobs.
Hey, Christian.
Ragnar.
Christian, both. It's Cafe Babe.
Yeah. Hey, Cafe Babe, what's up? But I used to work 3 and 4 jobs.
Okay.
I know Verm used to work a lot of extra jobs. You had your primary job, and then you were working other jobs to make more money because you were trying to get ahead in life.
Yeah.
And that part of the work ethic is gone.
Oh, there's a lot of that. Yeah. It's becoming a crazy world. That's all. That's the only thing I can say. It's becoming a crazy world. everything's going wrong.
So like Samurai wrote here about companies not keeping people till they retire. Well, it's because they're capitalists and they don't want to keep that liability. So when you get close to retirement, they're going to poleaxe you so they don't have to pay that retirement liability. What do?
You get a union job. That protects your retirement.
But nobody wants to hire a union anymore because union costs more. So when I was working in a plumbing supply house decades ago, the union came in and they said, "Yeah, you get prices on all this stuff, so because we're gonna try to bid on some of this new house construction." And I just started laughing. I said, "There's no way, dude. You're not gonna get it." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I go, here's for instance, right? Every plumber that comes in here that's non-union, he has his own tools. The union supplies tools for every job. So a union plumber doesn't even have to bring his own tools to work." I said, not to mention, these plumbers get paid less than a union plumber. And they get paid piece. While they may make more than a union plumber overall, because they're not paying dues and all that.
Okay.
They get paid by how much they crank out, not for just doing a job. Because you're going to pay these guys hourly and you're going to tell them it takes 15 hours to do this job. But that guy that's making piece, he's banging it out in 7.5 and he's getting 2 of them done a day when your crews are only getting 1 done a day. These builders are looking for volume. So unless you're going to be able to keep up with that, I knew guys who were banging out 5, 6, 8 bases a day on houses, plumbing, all the underground plumbing. And they would literally work from when the sun went up till the sun went down because they got paid piece. So they made a couple $100 for every piece, every base they finished. So it wasn't uncommon back then for them to make, $1,000, $1,500 a day.
Or you can do like a buddy of mine I grew up with. He went up to took what he had, went up to Alaska with absolutely no experience. Went over to one of the fishing piers. And he got he said, "Hey, I'd like to go catch go crabbing, learn the trade." They took him on. They said, "Hey, they interviewed him. They said, "Hey, look, this is deadly work. You could get knocked into the sea. This freeze to death out there. All sorts of crap can happen. You're on a boat. The boat can capsize. There's a lot of dangers." He's actually on a sister ship to God, I cannot remember the name of that. It's on the Deadliest Catch TV series.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's it's owned by one of the guys on Deadliest Catch. He owns like a whole fleet of ships. They only show the one he's on, but they own tons of these ships and they go out. Crab, and he loves it. He makes a year's salary in 6 months of being out at sea, and then he's like, "So you're 6 months out at sea, or 6 months crabbing. So you go out, you come back, you go to port, you refuel, you go back out. He's like, and that's the cycle." He's like, so what? He goes, what they don't show on that TV show, he's like, is the money that you make. They got 100% paid insurance. He's like, I walked up there with nothing. He goes, went to the port, walked up, and I said, "Why did you do it?" He goes, because I was sick of not making anything down here in the state. And I watched that TV show, and I went, you know what? I saw how much these guys were making, and he goes, now what they don't show, he said, with the pay is, okay, so on the ship they always say, okay, they're going to get a cut of how much that ship took in. So they total it up. They got the different ships.
Everybody gets a share.
Yeah,
it's a percentage share of whatever your rank is.
And he said, but here's the catch. He goes, so he's on this sister ship. It's also the fleet too. So he goes, so one guy might own, the owner of the company might own, 15 boats, 15 crabbing boats. Okay. And hypothetically, we're just going off hypothetical here. So on the TV show, he says, they'll always say, what that one boat makes. but what it is the whole entire fleet makes. So he goes, you're actually getting twice as much, or sometimes 4 times as much. If you have a really good season, he goes 6 months out. He goes, so what they usually do is he's like the fleet he's in has 6 ships. So 3 go out, 3 are refueling and getting fixed and repaired and everything. The other 3 are out. So it's a continual year-round thing. And he said, so when the king crab season's over, they're going for snow crab or some other Dungeness crab. So he's like, so as soon as one crab season ends, we're out there on the next crab season. So he's like, as soon as they come in after their 6 months of being out, then our 3 ships go out. And he's like, but then for the payout is the total of all 6 ships. So you get a cut of everybody. And he's like, so everything gets, and he's like, and that's the way it is with all the ships out there. That's a standard that they go by. It's like, traditional standard. And so he's like, so he made over, he's like his best take in for 6 months for the year was $285,000 for 6 months of work. And he gets that cut. Now 100, and so if you have,
and he gets full medical, full dental, full everything.
Yeah, and he gets full everything, and they're non-union. It's like it's the best. He goes, I get paid more than some doctors without having and I'm just Joe Schmo with a high school education, and 4 years of. And
I hope he's investing and doing everything else he needs to do to.
Oh yeah. Well, and he said that's the other thing, and I was going to hit on is the investment. They have they go through Edward Jones, so he's like each he goes, each fleet has their different has different people to go through. They bid, but his goes through Edward Jones, financial consultants, and he's like, and we got people that just meet you peer side, be like, hey, let's go have lunch and talk about your investment, and he goes, so I have an accountant. He goes, I mean, I have stuff that I never thought I'd ever dream of having. Like, he's like, I grew up with nothing and went into the Navy because I had nothing. And now I have more than I can have. And this dude's single. I mean, that's the great thing is he's like, I don't have a wife. I don't have any kids. I don't have any responsibility but myself. And so he's like, I sent checks to my parents and been like, hey, go buy yourself a new house now, or something like that. He's like, it's awesome, when you get to that point. He's like, and I'm still a nobody on this crew. He goes, I mean, I'm like now I think he's like ranked up a bit now that he's been with them for 3 years. But he said every year you have the potential of being cut from that crew. And he's like, and so you gotta push.
You got to cut the mustard.
Because
if you're not cutting the mustard, you get cut.
You get cut, but he said there's always the other thing is just because you were cut with that crew on that particular ship, you can go to another ship in that same fleet and get taken on. So he's like, I've never done it, but I've watched other guys shift from ship to ship, and then you can also transfer. So maybe you have a buddy on another ship, and then you have to do first a year on the ship you were assigned to, and then after that you can transfer to any ship in the fleet as many times as you want. So he's like, you can shift, do 6 months, come back, and then before your next 6 months out at sea, you can shift to a ship. Each 6 months you can go from ship to ship. But he's like, no one ever does that because then you don't have integrity on the crew. Anyways, I'm babbling, so all right.
You are babbling.
Yep, it's that time though.
Rambling.
It's that time though. It's
I'm
time
a rambling man.
for Steele to be rambling, man.
But at least it's something interesting to rambling about.
It is.
I'm just joking. No one thinks of the deadliest catch people.
I'm just joking.
I couldn't do it because I have no sea legs.
I'm messing with you.
I couldn't. I don't think I could do it. Not now. In my younger days, no problem. But like if I'd have gone like straight out of being in division to there, I could have done it. But
see, I think he was 3 years ago. So he's 52 now. So He's our age.
Probably the best financial decision he ever made.
Oh, yeah? Why?
Yeah. But he loves Alaska. He absolutely loves Alaska. He said it's the greatest. He just doesn't like the long winters, but he said the summers are absolutely gorgeous. Oh, and being part of the fleet, once you're there you have to do a year in order to get vacation. You don't get vacation like after 90 days. You have to prove yourself. And then once you do a year's time on the fleet, they give you, it's like the military. You said they give you 30 days, and you take all 30 days like in the military, or you can take it, however you want. So he's like, you just got to let them know before you sail, and then you can take vacation.
Yeah, they're not going to come in to drop you off.
Yeah. But he said his ship did die at sea one time. He said the diesel engines gave out. They had it. So he said he's no mechanic, but he said it was something dealing with a fuel line burst, and then they blew a head gasket. The next day, they got the fuel line fixed. The next day, they blew a head gasket. He said bad news. Then they didn't have a spare on the ship, and so he's like, you're stuck on rolling seas, on this ship with just being pushed by the waves. He's like, we were drifting everywhere. He's like, wherever the current took us, because you don't want to anchor, because you could actually capsize if you anchor in rough seas like that. So he's like, so you just let the waves kind of toss you around, and you kind of move wherever.
Did they bring him a head gasket, or they tow him back?
They eventually had one of their sister ships come out and pull a bigger ship and pull them into the nearest port. He said, which takes forever because they got to go slow so you don't drain the engines on the other ship. But he's like, yeah, and losing them. That was a bad paying season. He said, because we didn't go back out that season, and he's like, when that happens, it drains the entire fleet of their cut. So everyone gets a low pay that even the owner doesn't get a big cut. So even though he gets the majority.
Well, he owns the fleet.
Well, he's got a lot of overhead. It's like Rick Harrison on Pawn
you gotta,
says, I got a lot of overhead. Gotta sell it.
Which I don't know if you've ever seen that pawn shop. I've been there. It's not that big.
I've never been there.
It is not that big.
But I've been to the one in Michigan, a hardcore pawn in Detroit. I was in Detroit one time and went to 8 Mile, and it's a really crappy town. So it's not the best side of town. But
Christian just wrote to you guys. We should meet. You guys are amazing. Thanks a lot for your service.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, when I make it to Canada,
he's gonna come and eat a poutine.
If they let me in, then I won't be too far from you.
Yeah, he's supposed to be coming down to Montreal. He's supposed to be coming down to my place, Christian. So once he gets here, I'll let you know, so we all could go somewhere and eat a poutine. Is that what you want?
Some scotch.
Poutine and scotch. Oh God. Hey, I've been drinking. Did you see my bottle of whiskey?
I did. I replied on it. It's a good bottle.
Is it a good bottle?
Yeah, Woodford Reserve is good.
Okay, good. Because I drank half the bottle with my niece's boyfriend. He took it out, and we drank half the bottle.
I could go for some good old Canadian whiskey right about now. But right now, I got good old American whiskey.
What, some Seagram 7?
But you're an American who says good old Canadian whiskey, and I'm a Canadian saying a good old American whiskey. There's something going on wrong here.
It's because we can't get it. And so everything that you can't get or it's hard to get, that's what you covet. It's like getting like good Scottish whiskey, getting a good Scotch. Well, it's kind of hard to get and it's very expensive, but I can get all the great American whiskey all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hey, ladies and gents, it's already that time. Time to almost to shut this down. I can't believe it already, man. God, time goes fast. That's because of Danger Ranger here who makes it go fast. So, ladies and gents, I put in the channel 2 links to our Mixcloud and our SoundCloud. So people want to come back and listen to the old shows, well, they're there. And you want to come and listen to the mixes with my new controller? Well, they're there too. So technically, people have been asking me different genres. I've been doing different mixes, and Ragnar's not there, but I know I still got to do a big band one. So I'm gonna have to work on that one, a big band remix. Now maybe with my new controller, maybe with that new control that I popped out there. Look, at the amount it's worth, I should be able to do a big band remix. So. Yeah, so ladies and gents, thank you very much. AKAI, always a pleasure. Ragnar's there. He didn't talk.
He's still waiting for you.
He's busy.
Hey,
he didn't say nothing tonight.
Hey,
We're used to him doing research.
I like Samurai's suggestion. Do a special show where we're interested in everyone meets up, drinks, and I think.
I don't know. We should maybe ask Cafe Babe if he wants to join on the show. Maybe. Yeah, he could come and join us on the show.
If we don't scare him.
It can be quite intimidating.
Or maybe you'll scare him.
Crazy conspiracy theorists, nut jobs.
Oh, but Cafe Babe likes that.
It's not conspiracy theory. It's called plausible deniability.
Is that what it's called now?
Yes.
Okay. We'll see y'all later.
Ladies and gents,
Right.
see you everybody. Thank you, Ragnar, Samurai, Christian, everybody that joined up also on Facebook.